What's up everyone? Mikey here with Outdoor Adventure Training, bringing to you another follow along workout video, the Shasta Step Up Workout. This is a stability routine taken right from our base camp program that's all about improving what's called neuromuscular efficiency, primarily through the posterior chain muscle groups like our glutes and our hamstrings, but we're also definitely going to utilize our quadriceps, our adductors, and smaller stabilizing muscles through the lower legs. If you haven't yet checked out our base camp program, head over to our website, try our 7-day free trial. It's an excellent tool to add structure and accountability to your training program to help get you ready for objectives like Mount Shasta. This is a fairly simple workout. It's actually only 4 exercises once we get through the warm-up. But again, we're focusing on stability, which those of you that are training with me know very well that I'm a stickler when it comes to form and really using your brain to fire the muscle contractions that we're going for. And this is what this workout's all about. I'm gonna coach you through it every step of the way to make sure you're getting the most out of this 35-minute lower body routine. As far as equipment goes, you don't really need much. I'm gonna be using my foam box that's right behind me here. Anything between 12 and 18 inches is going to be fine. You could use a stair in your house, a chair, a coffee table, a park bench. You get the idea. Something that gives us a little bit of stable height off the ground and we can get right to it. So let's dive into the warm-up. We'll open up the Outdoor Adventure Training app, click on the Shasta Step Up Workout. We can see we have a nice short 7-minute warm-up, and then we're gonna dive into 2 different circuits, 3 rounds each, and we'll ease right into this. And don't be intimidated. This is a fairly simple workout and we're gonna do our best. So as far as the dynamic warm-up goes, we're gonna start with what are called knee circles. I love these just to get the joints lubricated. I usually just rest my hands on top of my knees, feet are about hip width distance apart, and we're just tracing circles with the knees, nice and easy. Only 40 seconds here. So this also serves to warm up the hips. As we push the hips out, we're kind of getting the quads, the calves, hamstrings, and glutes warmed up. As you get to this extended position, you get a little bit of a hamstring stretch. Working those circles, as much or as little is comfortable for you.
10 seconds
We'll switch
left.
directions if you haven't already. A little behind, but that's all right. Just trying to lubricate those joints, get them moving.
Leg swings.
We'll transition to leg swings next. I love this. All we're doing, swinging the leg forward and back. You could go a couple times each leg if you want, but really just one is enough. So a slight bend in the knee. We're swinging this leg forward and back. We're switching to the other leg. I'm working in a limited space here in my fancy garage gym. If you have more space, feel free to do this in one continuous motion, just walking along. So we're getting that hamstring stretch on the way up, a little bit of a hip flexor stretch on the way back. Also, core is engaged, working on posture always, keeping that balance. You can also do more static leg swings and just work continuous reps. Oftentimes in the garage gym, I'll opt for the stationary swings just to get the most out of it.
You're done in 3, 2, 1.
Butt kicks.
Excellent. Butt kicks next. This is helping to get the heart rate up. Also get the quads, hammies, the calves, the feet, everything warmed up. It's not about how far we're traveling forward, but rather about how many times we can get those heels up towards the glutes, staying light on the feet. And if your heels don't actually touch your butt, that's okay. Might be a sign that your quads are a little tight. Another reason to get going on the base camp program. Get those quads loosened up.
3, 2, 1.
Side shuffles.
Nice. Okay, keeping with the theme of aerobic and anaerobic cardio, we're doing side shuffles. I'm gonna move this bozu out of the way. We're gonna sit down low, shuffling out, plant, back the other way. Again, if you have a longer space to work with, feel free to do this continuously for 30, 40 yards in one direction and just go back the other way once. Really getting the legs warmed up here, staying low. A lot of this is glute engagement too, as we're pushing laterally that abduction of the hip pushing away. Just working those abductors, which are your glutes, in part.
10 seconds left.
A few other muscles. Staying low. Almost done. 5 seconds left.
You're done in 3, 2, 1.
Nice
Dynamic
job.
single leg balance.
Okay.
For 40 seconds.
Catch your breath. Dynamic single leg balance. All we're doing is keeping a slight bend in the leg and then dynamically moving the other leg. This is your chance to get creative. You can move your arms. We're trying to add some proprioceptive demand to just balancing statically. This is great for just building that balance,
10 seconds
really warming up those lower legs. Get creative here. Try to throw yourself off balance to some degree, but make sure we're keeping a good solid stance.
Dynamic single leg balance.
So again,
for 40
bend the ankle, bend the knee, bend the hip. Core is engaged, right? So from the lateral view, my posture is good. I'm not rounding, keeping that core engagement. I'm just trying to get creative. Again, just warming up. This is our last one before we get into workout. We'll have a short rest to get a little water. We're getting right into some step ups. We're deep into mountaineering season now on Shasta. It's been an epic year.
Hang in there.
It's mid-June now. Lots and lots of climbing. I've been on the mountain a fair bit.
3, 2, 1.
It's
Rest.
epic up there.
For 60
If you have the chance to get out there this spring, do it. Or start training now for next year. It's never too late to get going. I'm gonna grab my water bottle. We're gonna get ready for some step ups. Okay, so for step ups, we're gonna talk a lot about technique and form. I'm gonna work with the shortest height here. This is 18 inches. So the first round I will do from the lateral view. The next round I'll show you from the anterior view. Really, we're just working on some of the biomechanics here of the step up. So if you are in the base camp program and you're watching this video, please watch the 2 to 3 minute tutorial video for the step up. In particular, it's one of the most important ones. So
Stabilization
primarily,
step up.
what you need to know is we're trying to push off this front leg while keeping excellent posture, minimizing the push off the back leg. Of
Stabilization
course,
step up.
you're going to push off your back leg a little bit, chest up nice and tall. I'm trying to push through the heel, and more importantly, the outside part of the foot, not letting my arch collapse, pushing all the way up to center, balance, and then down slowly. So notice the eccentric phase, the way down, is arguably more important than the way up. This is a 90-second set, so I have plenty of time to refine these. Coming down slow, okay? If you find that you're really struggling with either getting up or coming down slow, that might be an indication that we need to lower the box some. Again, starting with 12 inches is totally fine. I'm working with 18 here, pretty comfortable at this height. Pay attention to what your knee is doing. Try to keep it in line with the second and third toe, meaning it's not collapsing inward. Come up, balance for just a second, down slow. Notice on the way down, I'm not pushing my knee forward to come down. I'm really trying to, the best I can, sit back, down slow. Minimal push off the back leg, balance, down slow. Starting to get the idea. Again, really pay attention. We'll look at this from the anterior view on the next round. Externally rotate that knee. We use this exercise in our movement assessments, and oftentimes people's knees are caving in, that valgus motion, which is indicative of maybe underactive lateral musculature in the glutes. Okay,
Stabilization
switching
step
legs,
up.
another 90 seconds here. Chest up, core is engaged, pushing off that front leg, down slow. You will most certainly have a leg that's stronger or at least more stable than the other. For me, it's my right leg. So yes, I am working my slightly weaker, less stable leg here. I'm gonna externally rotate, exaggerate that motion. My foot is still square ahead. I'm just squeezing the glutes with the external rotators to push up, balance, slow. So it might not look like much, but these step-ups really are a foundational exercise to build from. Eventually, when we add resistance, we do different variations of the step-up, but this is what we need to come back to, and arguably one of the best sport-specific exercises for mountaineers, hikers, backpackers, even runners. This is what you're gonna be doing out in the field in the mountains. This is an excellent exercise to practice. Okay, I noticed on that last rep, because I'm talking a lot, on the way down, my knee kind of collapsed in, which again, we'll look at from the anterior view, but I really want to exaggerate this external rotation. Slow, 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 on the way down.
3, 2, 1, rest for 20 seconds.
Okay, short rest here. We're gonna be doing what's called an elevated glute bridge next. So if you've been following our channel for any amount of time, you've seen the standard glute bridge. You've also seen other variations of the glute bridge. And you don't have to have done those for this exercise to be effective for you. But essentially, what we're doing is resting our thoracic spine just at the base of our shoulder blades on the edge of the box, the bench, stair, whatever you're using. And then I'm squeezing my glutes to press my hips up, but I'm not overarching my back. I'm still drawing in and keeping the abdominals tight. Okay? So from here, I can sink the hips down, hinge back, press the hips up. So even though this is a step up workout, this exercise actually recruits similar muscle groups, actually a lot of the same muscle groups that we're using in a step up, mostly glutes and hamstrings. So by activating this exercise or integrating this exercise into the workout, when we come back to the step ups on the next round, hopefully things feel a little more comfortable. Notice I'm holding this top range of motion for several seconds. There's intention behind that. Excellent. Rest, break time, grab a little water. I'm gonna get my box set up in the anterior view for the next set. Okay, so hopefully after even one round, you're feeling activation in that posterior chain. Again, I said this isn't a hard workout. It's difficult in a different way. You should be really, really using your brain to make these things happen, not just mindlessly going through this workout scrolling on your phone. Which honestly, I think is another benefit of using the Outdoor Adventure Training app, is that you're not gonna be like texting while you're doing your workout, because you need to be following the workout on your phone. Anyway, I guess that could go both ways. Quick sip of water. I know I'm talking a lot. That's my least favorite part about these videos. But a lot of important information to get across. Okay, anterior view, head on. We're gonna pay attention to the knee, what it's doing in relation to my foot, my toes. I don't want this to cross the midline. I wanna keep it over my second and third toe. And if you have a tendency to cave in, externally rotate and exaggerate, and then coming down slowly. Particularly on the way down, I often see people, they're good, and then they get this motion going. We're trying to avoid that. We're really trying to fire these posterior chain muscle groups. And you're probably sick of me saying that, but that's the reality. It takes a lot of redundancy to make it happen. Whoop. So again, another thing I see a lot in movement assessments is the arch collapse, which really starts from the foot. If your arch collapses, you have no chance. Your knee's gonna collapse too. It all starts with a strong foot, which is why we love Zero shoes, which is what I'm wearing right now. They're incredible for strengthening your feet slowly over time, just day-to-day movements. Walking around your house barefoot even is a great way. Going slow, holding, and then as slow as possible on the way down, just about. You can feel my knee wanting to cave in on that one. Externally rotating.
Hang in there.
I've done a lot of step-ups in my life. Always still refining them.
You're done.
They're never gonna be perfect.
2, 1, rest for 10 seconds.
But it does translate directly over to mountaineering, climbing, hiking.
We'll start.
When I'm guiding with a 75-pound pack up Avalanche Gulch,
Stabilization step up.
this is what I'm thinking about every step of the way. Again, externally rotate. This is my harder leg. or I should say less stable leg, especially on the way down. As far as hands go, really whatever's comfortable. Hips are great. Out in front is great. Behind your head even is great. Just make sure you can keep your core engaged. Okay, I'm noticing a little caving in. Push out, glutes. Outside of mountaineering, I've been deep in running training for the last 3 or 4 months, getting ready for Shasta Headwaters 56K. Just 3 days out from that, which is why I'm filming a mellow lower body stability routine. Certainly don't want to overtax that system before a big objective, but there is a lot of benefit to doing something like this a few days prior to a big objective, kind of reminding your brain of, oh yeah, this is how my body should be moving during this huge effort. As long as you're not exhausting yourself, giving plenty of time to rest, recover, and mobilize.
You're done.
Slowly.
3, 2, 1. Rest.
Okay, elevated glute bridge.
Seconds.
Same thing. We'll talk more about technique. So again, on the elevated glute bridge even, pay attention to your knees, right?
Elevated
We
glute
certainly
bridge.
don't want to be bow-legged, but we don't want our knees caving in. Just that subtle external rotation
We'll start.
is going to make a big difference.
2, 1.
Elevated glute
And
bridge.
if you really wanted to, you could hold this bridge position for 60 seconds. Really all the hinge is a short break to do it again. There's not a lot of eccentric, meaning on the way down, not a lot of eccentric resistance. There is, of course, concentric engagement, but really this one's all about that isometric hold, getting those glutes engaged and the abdominals engaged at the same time. That's kind of what we want, that counter tension is what really helps to stabilize the pelvis and spine. Finding a breathing pattern that works for you. It's amazing.
You're done in 3, 2, 1. Rest. For 60
Excellent.
seconds.
Cool. We got one more round of that, and then we're on to the next circuit, which is also only 2 exercises. I know it's 3 sets, but 2 of the sets are the same exercise, opposite legs. We do a lot of unilateral training, meaning one leg at a time. Of course, we do both sides to stay symmetrical, but if you're gonna do any kind of an exercise training for outdoor objectives, doing as many of those single-legged as you can, because when you're mountaineering, rock climbing, trail running, backpacking, the list goes on, you're more often than not gonna find yourself on one leg at a time. There are very few sports, with the exception of skiing and snowboarding, which you could also argue you're putting more weight on one leg. Anyway, do the single leg exercises. They're phenomenal.
Step
We
up.
have tons and tons, literally hundreds of them in our training programs. Again, head over to our website, check out the Basecamp program. I'm gonna work on my weaker leg first.
Stabilization step
Staying
up.
with the anterior view, I think this view is far more important. External rotation. Notice how much I'm exaggerating that. If you have the means to either film this and watch it after to get that external feedback, or better yet, live feedback with a mirror in front of you, there is no better way to train. It's not just to watch your muscles grow, it's really to get feedback on your form. Because oftentimes, more often than not, what we think we're doing and what we're actually doing, 2 very different things. If you are feeling really confident with this and you're like, dude, this is super easy, you could either hold a couple dumbbells at your side, you could hold a medicine ball out in front. Anytime we're holding something out in front, it's gonna help to further engage the core, which you know I'm a big fan of, and you should be too. Down slow. Notice, I don't know how well you can tell, but I'm putting a lot of weight on this outside edge of my foot. And it's not that I'm rolling out, I'm just thinking about creating that arch and not collapsing inward.
10 seconds left. Hang in there. You're done in 3, 2, 1. Rest.
Excellent.
For 10
I love doing that
seconds.
last rep. More often than not, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna turn back to the lateral view for this side. I wanna show you guys one thing.
Stabilization
So,
step up.
a lot of people make a big deal about where your knee is in relation to your big toe. The purpose of this exercise, we don't wanna go excessive. You're gonna get a lot of calf and quad engagement. More or less, this knee is gonna be stacked over the ankle. On the way down, you'll see that might shift a little bit where my knee is a little bit further forward, but it's not really going much beyond my big toe. There are certainly exercises like the reverse step up or the ATG split squat that are designed to push that knee forward for different training adaptations. This is not an exercise where that's our goal, because we're really trying to get that posterior chain firing. And the reason why I put so much emphasis on the posterior chain, cheated with the ceiling there a little bit. The reason why I put so much emphasis on posterior chain is because so many people just don't have good activation through the posterior chain. So my goal is to help spread that around the outdoor community, because it can be a game changer. When you start recruiting the biggest, strongest muscles in your body, things happen in how you're feeling, how you're performing,
10 seconds left.
and the longevity and sustainability of your career as an outdoor athlete. Coming down slow.
You're done in 3, 2, 1.
Last
Rest
rep.
For 20 seconds.
Excellent. Okay. The EGB, elevated glute bridge.
Elevated glute bridge.
Last set here. Again, play with where it's comfortable for you. If you have something metal that you're doing this on or something firm, feel free to put a
Elevated
towel,
glute bridge.
whatever is comfortable. Hips up, glute engagement. Really thinking about drawing in the abdominals. Hopefully y'all can see the difference there. I'm not arching my back. I'm actually drawing my belly button in to create that tension through the abdominals. The entire core musculature. Oh yeah, lots of glute engagement happening here.
You're half done.
Excellent work. Remember, keep those knees out.
10 seconds left. Hang in there. You're done in 3, 2, 1. Rest.
Nice job. Okay, you can push the box out of the way. Although we're not done with it, we're gonna use that for our sit to stand squat, which is one of my favorite techniques to help people with their squatting technique. Alrighty, so for our next round here, we're going to be doing what's called a stationary reverse lunge, which is one leg at a time. So right leg and then left leg, or you can flop that, doesn't matter. And then we're switching to a sit to stand squat, which you will need a box, a chair, a bench for. But I love the stationary reverse lunge because it's a very similar mechanic to what we're doing in the step up,
Reverse
but
lunge.
a little bit different, which I'm all for just a little bit different because it really challenges you to use your body in different ways. So here we go. Starting from a straight,
lunge.
standard static postural position, I'm reaching back with one leg. And now the key is I'm sitting back through the hips and then pressing off this front heel to come back to center. Okay, so a lot of people will do this. They reach back and then they keep all their weight forward. It's gonna put a lot of pressure through the knee. Notice where my shoulders are in line with my hips, pressing off that front heel. And you can even balance just like you would in a step up. But I'm really sitting back in that back leg. Love this too because it does get a little bit of quad action going on that back leg, which again is great. But prime mover, posterior chain of the front leg. balance. We'll
left.
get a couple
Hang
more
in
reps
there.
in here. Nice and slow, externally rotated. Next round, I'll do anterior
Done
view.
in 3, 2, 1.
Nice.
Rest for 20
Switching legs, I'll just go ahead and go anterior view here. So again, I'm reaching back, but everything is going back. It's not
Reverse
just my
lunge.
leg, it's my whole upper body. This is the same motion really that's gonna happen in a walking lunge when you're stepping out of the lunge. So this translates to a lot of other exercises,
lunge.
which is why it's so foundational. Reaching back, definitely still balance involved. Notice my front knee, not letting it cave in, externally rotated. Up to center. Love this exercise. As we go through the program, doing this weighted, holding dumbbells or a barbell on your back. Woo! Excellent way to get those glutes firing. So again, I'm reaching back. My knee is not pushing far forward at all. Keeping it right in there. Pushing off that front leg. So a lot of people blow it, pushing too much off the back leg. That's not the goal.
10 seconds
We're
left.
pushing off the
Hang in
front
there.
heel, outside part of that foot, up to center.
You're done in 3, 2, 1.
Excellent.
Rest.
Okay, sit to stand, squat. You might think, Mikey, this is a remedial exercise. I am way too advanced to be sitting and standing
Sit to
up. This is
stand
for old
squat.
people. No, it's not. This is a terrific exercise that I encourage you to practice. Okay, so I have the bench right behind me. Box, whatever you
Sit to
have.
stand
Nice
squat.
and slow. I'm sitting back in a squat. I'm just letting my hips tap. I'm not sitting down and taking a break. This is outdoor adventure training. We don't do that unless we're on the side of a mountain, really. Sitting back, excellent posture, keeping the weight in the heels. Use this exercise a lot with people that struggle in their squat and they put too much weight in their knees and they're pushing their knees forward. We want to sit back. Notice my knees in this exercise really are not going forward at all. I'm fighting gravity. Core is engaged. I know this doesn't talk about the squat fundamentals of our form. We have videos for that as well. That's embedded into the training program.
10 seconds
Core is
left.
engaged,
Hang in there.
knees externally rotated, all the same things. Translate, I tell people this all the time.
Done in 3, 2, 1.
Excellent.
Rest.
It doesn't matter if it's a squat, if it's a step up, if it's a lunge, it's all the same. Fundamental principles. The knee is not caving in, it's staying slightly externally rotated. Our weight is primarily in the heel, in the outside part of the heel. Our core is engaged. All of these themes just are interwoven with every exercise, every workout. So when in doubt, come back to the fundamentals that you are learning right now and early on in the training program. Get a sip of water. I appreciate y'all being here. It's tough sometimes to put the work in, but it always pays off down the road. All the years and years of training does add up big time. And really that's what it's all about, is it really does take years. So many people want the quick, rapid results, which yes, you will reap, but the real lasting changes within your physiology, within how you move, just takes time. That's all it is. Just like with anything. Every good thing comes in time.
Ready.
Okay.
Next up,
Reverse lunge.
Reverse lunge. I'm gonna start on this right leg. Excellent posture. I'm really gonna focus on reaching back with that back leg.
Reverse lunge.
Reaching back. Notice that back toe is striking straight ahead. I'm not externally rotated. We're staying externally rotated through the hip, not turning the feet out. There's a big difference there. Reaching back. From the next set, I'll show the lateral view again. Show you a couple things with the legs that you might want to consider.
you're half done.
Try to make this as fluid as possible. One motion down, drive off that front leg. If you are getting pain, particularly in the back knee, Either one, decrease the range of motion, or two, and really probably both of these things, decrease the range of motion for now, but also pay some attention to your quadriceps and mobility training, meaning foam rolling, stretching, get those suckers loose. That's 90% of the cause for any kind of knee pain is tight quads, tight hip flexors. Okay, so I'm gonna move this out of the way. To show you reaching back with the right leg from the lateral view again. So I'm working with the left leg here. Okay, when I reach back, my goal is to get a 90 and a 90. See how the front leg, 90-degree angle, back leg, 90-degree angle. That's the goal, as close as we can get to that. Again, if you're decreasing your range of motion, you might not quite be at a 90, and that's okay. Reaching back. Love the balance here. If early on in the program, you're not used to doing these things, especially in a more minimalist shoe, encourage a lot of people to do this barefoot as well. Your feet might feel it, and that's great. That means they're getting stronger. Just make sure you're keeping up with mobility in the way of foam rolling your feet, your calves, which is all integrated into our base camp program and all of our programs, really.
You're done in 3,
One more for good measure.
1. Rest
Excellent.
for 20
Okay,
seconds.
sit the stand, squats again. Let's do the anterior view. Why not? Talk more about
Sit to
squat
stand
mechanics. Okay, again, so with the knees, feet hip width, shoulder, hip or shoulder width distance apart, somewhere in that. We don't want to be
Sit to
too
stand
wide,
squat.
don't want to be too tight.
For 60 seconds.
Nice and slow. I'm gonna sit back, let my hips find that box. I'm not resting, I'm still very engaged. My knees are externally rotated, pushing back up to center. This is a very important exercise to work on. If you can't maintain good posture, good technique at this depth, stick a book or stack some weights. Anything that's gonna elevate the bench a little bit more will make it easier. But you might notice how this is a very functional exercise. You're probably doing this a lot in your day-to-day life, from sitting to standing, standing to sitting. You wanna do this with excellent form. You will find, particularly at the amortization phase, which is where you transition from going down to going up, eccentric to concentric, your knees might wanna buckle. Push them out, push them out, push them out. There's no lateral movement of the knees.
1. Rest for 90 seconds.
Alrighty, nice 90-second rest here. That's intentional. Make sure you're doing everything with excellent form, especially later in the workouts. It can get tough to keep good form. There is a time and a place to push yourself. Stabilization phase is not the time or the place to do that. We're really focusing on the fundamentals, the techniques. Again, everything you're learning now, it might seem slow, it might seem basic. I promise you it's effective. You need to trust the process. The first 4 to 6 weeks of taking things really slow allows us to really expedite our results down the road. Just gotta trust it. We're gonna do another set of these reverse lunges. Legs should be feeling good and activated by now. I'll also say that early on in the program, if you're like, geez, this 35-minute workout is just too much and I can handle about 66% of it, excellent. Only do the first circuit or only do 2 rounds of each circuit. That's totally fine. In time, you're gonna get there. Alrighty, I'm gonna go lateral view again.
Get ready.
Starting
Reverse
with the
lunge.
right leg forward, I'm gonna reach back with the left. I really like keeping my hands and my hips for this one. I find that it helps me
Reverse
stay
lunge.
neutral through the whole body, and it's easy assessment if I'm leaning too far forward. If I'm nice and stacked, I know my hands are more or less underneath my shoulders the whole time, reaching back. Balance. Again, not pushing too much off that back leg. Really trying to push off the front leg. Get that glute firing. So many variations of this exercise. Like I mentioned, doing it weighted, of course, that's no brainer, but doing this with a TRX, not letting your back leg touch. We'll do this exercise with our front leg on a Bosu ball, which, as you can imagine, adds quite the demand, not just to the lower leg, but everything.
10 seconds left. Hang in there. You're done in 3, 2, 1.
Excellent.
For 20 seconds.
Switching legs, why not? We'll go anterior view again, just so you can really see
Reverse
what we're after
lunge.
here. Also, if you have some kind of lines on your floor, sometimes I'll put a piece of tape down. It can be really good for keeping toes
Reverse
square,
lunge.
making sure you're holding yourself accountable with form if you don't have a mirror. Reaching back. Back foot is straight ahead. I really love the idea of coming up to balance. That really ensures that you're clearing the hips, finishing the repetition. What I mean by clearing the hips is that when I come up to center, I'm no longer bent. Might still have a slight bend in the knee, but I'm posterior tilt of the pelvis, full glute engagement, right? I'm really maximizing my range of motion. Just like if you were doing push-ups, we want to go all the way down, all the way up. Lunge is no different. We're going all the way down and all the way up. Finish that rep, hold it for a second or two, back into
10
it.
seconds left. Hang in there.
Feeling a little bit more now.
You're done in 3, 2, 1.
Excellent work.
For 20 seconds.
Last exercise. Sit to stand squat.
Sit to stand squat.
Here we go. Doesn't really matter how far away you are. I actually like being close to the box. If you're too far away, sometimes you're sticking your butt
Sit
out
to
a little
stand
too much.
squat.
For 60 seconds. Last exercise.
Again, clearing the hips. Notice the difference between stopping here and tucking, rolling the pelvis forward. Boom. Glutes are super engaged. And honestly, that's what translates, like standing in line at a grocery store, standing at home on your standing desk in a Zoom meeting. This is what we're going for. Core engaged, glutes engaged. I'm not standing there like this, right? Finishing the rep. Good posture. Anytime your posture is good, your core needs to be engaged. To achieve that,
10 seconds left to the end. You can do this.
let's get a couple more.
In 3, 2,
Last one.
1. Great job for hanging in there. See you tomorrow.
Excellent. Good job. Shake those legs out. Woo. We can go ahead and use the little RPE monitor. Shouldn't be too difficult today. Maybe a 4 or 5. We're not going for 7 or 8 with this one. Again, it's stability. We're using brain power to fire these muscle contractions. Of course, we're using muscular energy. Your legs shouldn't be fried after this. It's all about building the fundamental pathways to make you as strong and functional as an outdoor athlete as possible. Once again, if you haven't already, head over to our website at outdooradventuretraining.com. Check out our different training programs. We are here to help you and support you on your mission. Book a consultation, and we'd love to talk to you about your training goals and how we can help you get there. Once again, I'm Mikey Bell, and we'll see you next time right here at Outdoor Adventure Training.